This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
Let's keep going here and let's talk about the next match. Your favorite, General Hugh G. Rection, which I have it on good authority was your nickname in junior high, beat Shane Douglas by DQ in 9 minutes and 48 seconds. We've got lots of run-ins and outside interference here. This is just hard to watch. Meltzer would say no matter how hard the talent worked, the scripting at this point was killing the show. 3/4 of a star. What'd you think here?
Sinking ship. You know, the name alone, you know, the humorous thing, humorous, I kind of got. And he, you know, Bill's a big guy. He's another big guy that can really move for a guy his size, you know, a top rope moonsault for a guy that size. That's pretty damn impressive.
Oh yeah.
But huge, what was it? Huge erection.
Huge erection. Yeah.
Yeah. We're ribbing ourselves again. It's an inside joke that's supposed to be funny that has since lost its pop. You know, it's one of those things. I thought it was lowbrow. That's the best we could come up with. You know, it's all these sexual innuendos and stuff you're throwing out there on, you know, on TBS, which is you know, it's a PG product. It should be.
You've put over Hugh Morris as a performer before. What about Shane Douglas? We haven't spent much time talking about him before he comes into the company this run, because he had been here before. Boy, he was pretty vocal about your, at the time, best friend, Ric Flair, cutting all kinds of promos about him in ECW and calling him out and saying mean and nasty things. And now he's here in WCW. What was your relationship like with Shane, and what did you think of him as a performer?
Shane was a worker's worker. He was a great babyface. I worked with him a few times, you know, and when they had him and Johnny tagged together, we worked some tags with him, but I worked some singles with Shane, and I thought he was a very polished babyface. And then when he, you know, ECW as a heel in the face of the company and, you know, their champion, I thought he did a good job with that. It's not easy to switch sides and be as good as you were as one or the other.
Right.
And I thought he was pretty damn polished and a polished worker and did some really good stuff. I've talked to Shane over the years. Every time I've seen him, we've had a good conversation because his career wasn't built on being a gimmick. I mean, the guy could go out and tell you a story. And, you know, that's what I looked at. If a guy was a good worker, man, I always wanted to work with the good workers because I was limited. And make no mistake, I'm not going to tell any lies here. It really helped to be out there with a guy that was really a lot better than me, that I could cater to his style. And when it was time, I had just enough stuff on my tool belt that I could make this be a believable fight. And Shane was one of those guys. And that's always been my opinion of him. And the backstage politics that he went through in his career, you know, we all went through that. Every one of us. And he was a guy that, you know, he used that platform, I'm sure, to cut promos on Rick. Rick didn't work with that company, but I'm sure it certainly got his name out there and got people buzzing and talking, even though they worked for separate companies.
Rick's been pretty negative about Shane over the years. Did you and Rick ever talk about Shane Douglas?
Yeah. I mean, he had his opinions because, let's face it, you know, if we really want to just break this down, Rick was a guy that had, from day one with that company, had a lot of input because the guys in charge knew the name Ric Flair, knew he was a marketable commodity, you know, to say the very least.
Yep.
He was a guy that they wanted heading up and being one of the faces of their company. And I'm sure, you know, Rick butted heads with a lot of talent over the years. And when he was the booker, you're going to make a lot of enemies, number one, but just being who he was and having the stroke and and a suggestion would come down, and it might not have even been about Rick, but if Rick took a stance the opposite way, I'm sure a lot of times he won the argument. And, you make a lot of enemies that way. I was not in any of those discussions. That was not my position in the company. If he was all powerful, a lot of the things that happened to me negatively would have never happened.
Right.
But he had just enough power to pretty much get his own way. And I think that was probably the situation in some capacity, with him and Shane.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at savewithconrad.com.